Thank you very much, viewers, wherever you are. I've lost my voice, but I'll try to speak so that we get the message across to Africa. This is Punchline Africa TV, broadcasting all the way from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya. This morning, wherever you are in Berlin, on our satellite, elsewhere in the world, in the United States of America, in China, Russia, Europe, South Africa, North Africa, whether you are in Tripoli, whether you are in Rabat, Morocco, each place you have our services. You can just open up and see what we have. Today, we will have a special guest in the studio. She's one of the few, investors, financial consultants, one of the few consultants who can give us advice about the legacy, the big four, the small traders, how the small traders can be helped. You know very well, President Uhuru Kenyatta recently waived the tax or the type of, containers that had been actually loaded and confiscated, or let's say they had been, locked up in the warehouses of the customs. President Kenyatta went down to the port, the dry port, and directed that the containers must be released after verification and the paying of the taxes. This actually came as a result of a long battle between the government, the traders, and it had a lot of impact on the farmers, on the traders, on the ordinary citizens of Kenya. My guest today will endeavor to tell us what was the gain. Is there any hope that these things will be smooth without any hitches, long-term solutions? Why do we have farmers, traders coming, bringing their goods from China, ending up their goods being detained by the customs for over 2-3 months? Yet some of these traders borrow money from the banks. Some of these traders go to get loans, and the loans that they get from even high rates. Some of the main money lenders in town are not very easy. If you don't pay them 1 week, they come and blow down your house, your door. So most of the traders down in town were not actually very happy with their goods being detained by the customs. So, Madam, I want you to introduce yourself. Tell us, you've worked in institutions, Price Waterhouse, you have worked everywhere. What is the general trend, Madam Wanjiru?
Thank you very much.
Do I call you Wanjiru? Because I was about to call you some other name. Wanjiru?
Oh yeah, Wanjiru is fine, or Ruth.
Ruth Wanjiru.
Yes.
Ruth Wanjiru is a senior consultant in financing, in businesses. You will see her most of the time here trying to tell you the packages of reviewing your businesses. What you want to set up a business in Africa, what do you want to do, what is supposed to be done. You need, like some of us, need human resourcing. Yeah. Can she do it for us? Are we making any value from the current people that we have? Those are serious questions that we want to answer. And we want Wanjiru to help us to answer and tell us in the future. But for now, the headlines in Kenya, it is war at Kenya Revenue Authority as people battle cartels, and the new chairman of the board is being selected. Then this one is political, which you don't want to touch.
Yeah.
Moise Keane dished out ADC land to cronies. That is something that is coming up. I don't know why this newspaper is concentrating on the Moi family. I hope it is not being Machiavellian. and then quizzed over Israel's farm. This is something of corruption which you can touch on.
Yes.
So let's begin with the smaller traders and the legacy. This all we want. What is the legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta? Why is it that are we able to deliver some things out of the legacy? Over to you, Madam.
Thank you very much, Dr. and thank you for this opportunity. I'm here basically for the small traders, SMEs and startups in this country. I think, and as we know, whether people have full-time jobs or whether they're in business full-time, people are trying to have those side hustles and startups that they can start up so that to grow over time. And as we know, Kenyan citizens are very law-abiding citizens. They are people who are bound to what they are being told, to law. They want to comply with law and order. They really want to comply with the processes that have been put out there by the government, and they want to even abide in the law in terms of paying taxes. So whatever they ask for the government is the support in terms of following the rules and the laid down procedures that have been put forward for them to be able to grow and support the economy. But what happens now with the current happening right now with the small trader is they're at that point of, is the government supporting us in terms of business? And as you're saying earlier, in terms of we saw our president visiting the inland container depot recently, and he went there because of us, the small scale traders, because they're being harassed. They felt that they're being harassed. And you know, they are the majority in the economy. Being the majority in the economy, that means if they are halted or if they are not operating very well or optimally, that means even the economy is very slow. And at this point in time, especially when we look at the debt in Kenya, we cannot afford to go at any deeper. We cannot afford to go to a recession. We need to support the small economic stuff that Kenyans are doing for it to spur economic growth, yes, and to ensure that money is circulating in the economy.
Thank you very much. Money circulating in the economy. Do you feel it? How are the ordinary people? We are now touching also the legacy. What is it that is making the president, people come up in a state? We had a chat with you over our chat room on 2 days ago, and you brought up very serious points, cardinal points.
Yeah.
Can you actually talk about them? Because today we see the legacy of the president. Yeah. Someone or some people tend to have put their waxed it to look as if there is nothing that is coming out of this legacy.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same?
I think the president, to be honest, he's tried and he's done his level best. And actually, you can tell that he has the interest of common mwananchi at heart. But in terms of legacy, there's no way. A legacy is not one person thing. The president cannot be able to work alone. He has his own mechanism that support his working. And we have to be able to see at least the mechanism is moving and it's working towards what is being expected. But we see in terms, as we were discussing on the chat the other day, we can see there's somewhere, there are areas, the oil is not there. The lubrication in terms of how the process should run well and fast. Why should the president go to the inland container depot himself? Because there's some oil that is not moving as well than it should be. And that is the main issue that we see. The president has everything, has put everything mechanism, but in terms of daily service delivery, I think the people below him and the people below those, and there's a bit of, there is a gap, there's a proper gap. But I think the best thing is that at least we can see him being a leader. He's coming down to the level of common mwananchi. And if you can remember, my rating in that chart was 8. Meaning that at least that was an effort enough for him coming down to common mwananchi, meaning I'm coming here because you people have entrusted you with this are not doing what is expected. And me coming is sending such a strong message. He's really actually sending a strong message that I'm here because you guys are not doing whatever you're doing. And before you even go to that, yeah, we saw even and maybe because in the container depot, we cannot separate it from KRA maybe. Meaning that the KRA has been on the spotlight for the last, I think, 1 month since we saw the court session that were happening even with their staff and things like that. Meaning there is a gap and we can already see there is something that motivates maybe the people who work there, I don't know, but what we are saying that the people there needs to go to optimal level of operation to support Kenyans.
Optimal level of operation.
Yeah.
The legacy of the President of Republic of Kenya is at stake.
Yeah.
We have 39 months left. We have to deliver 4 pillars of Agenda 4. Housing, food security, manufacturing, and above all, health care. Of the 4, what do you think the President should pick up and go along and leave the rest to anybody coming in power in 2022? Like Kibaki left some things and said they will be done. What do you think of the 4 that the President should stick? Because we have another one added. Another problem that the President has is corruption. Corruption is eaten into the fabric of the President's tenure of office. Almost all parastatals are rotten. We are helping the President now. It is not. You have said it. The oil is somewhere is not oiled. Some oil has not worked there. Why should the President go to the container? Yet there are people who should have gone. Where are the ministers?
Exactly.
Where's the SCS? The CS is supposed to oversee departments, parastatals working. What has gone wrong? But among the 4, what do you think the President should pick in order to hold a legacy?
Thank you very much. From my perspective and personal opinion is that the President food security should be the first, I think should be his key agenda, because I think we shouldn't be seeing what we are seeing even in areas like Turkana, that people are lacking food. I think this nation already has its resources enough for its people. And I think he should ensure that those areas that are productive are able to overproduce enough for the people even who are in those areas that are not productive. And I know that when we say to areas that are productive, we touch even to the issues in terms of devolution, because there's already devolution in place. And some of these things, I think there should be cascade in terms of how service level or information or empowerment moves from the national government down to the county government and vice versa, so that there's enough communication, so that no Kenyan should die of hunger in this nation. So that is, I think that he should put that as one of his priority. And the second other most important thing or pillar that he should also look into is health. I think we shouldn't be seeing what we are seeing even in hospitals and like county.
Like where the governor is so beautiful outside with skirts and dresses, but when they showed the hospital in Kirinyaga, I think my heart changed.
It's sad.
Is this the governor that I always see in Lord Errol, seated having a drink? While the hospital where you preside and the health is one of the pillars of the devolution, which was taken back as one of the functions. A governor sitting, drinking, and making speeches, eloquent speeches in the Senate, while there is a hospital of that nature. Surely, I think it took. I was very. You can't blame. Can you blame Uhuru for this?
We can't.
The money has been given to the developed units. The quarrels in Kirinyaga between Waiguru and the woman rep have killed the legacy of health in Kirinyaga. The quarrels that used to be in Machakos are no longer there. And you can see Mutua has killed the quarrels and is one of the best governors performing in terms of health. If the hospital is not clean, close it. If the hospital makes 2 mistakes, close it. You don't need the president to leave and go to the dry pot in order to sort out a problem. And that is why we want you on this show every day from next week. If you have time, arrange your timetable. You must come and bring us that financial aspect.
Yeah.
Because the president needs to see the financial implications, the debt, the huge debt. Yesterday we had something say Kenya is broke. Kenya hasn't reached the stage of Greece.
Yeah, no.
No. Our indicators are still very good.
Yeah.
We can pull out if we kill corruption.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
The president has done his best.
Yes.
He's put the institutions.
Yes.
Is it the bad law?
Exactly.
Is it the bad law?
I think...
Is the law... Do we have a good law?
We do. We do.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are... It is you there. You have a good law.
And
are the laws good in Kenya?
They are.
To imprison people?
You know?
There are some people saying the president should do something very drastic.
Yes.
What did you expect out of the president when he was at the State of the Nation? I think as a trader who was one of those consultants who was glued on TV, you expected the president to say, drop the bombshell.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
and from that day,
yes, people
seem to have got very upset with the president.
Yes, they are.
That he did not drop the bombshell. Now, he might be watching, or he might be in meetings, but his people are watching. What do you want to tell them? What do you want to tell the president exactly? Where is the problem? He is the chief of all chiefs.
Yeah.
The buck stops at his office. The oil lubricated must lubricate up to his office.
Yeah.
I've got one good thing you said today.
Yeah.
The oil has not lubricated to where those containers were. It means there was Kasoro there. That's why the president went. What do you want to tell the president?
I think I want to tell the president today, and I'm honored to tell him today that he is doing the right job. But I think in terms of people and processes that are there to ensure that they service delivery, I think that needs to be rechecked. And in terms of communication, is there proper communication strategies in different areas, and especially in areas and ministry that integrate? You know, how can we be able to, we don't have to really have, there has to be integration between ministries and even counties so that things can be able to work. From a national government, Ministry of Health, how does it cascade down, like for example, in the issue of hospital that we are talking about that was really pathetic. And for example, if for example, other leaders are not performing, can that be blamed on the president? Yes. The president cannot be taking bullets for everyone, even where people have deliberately absconded their jobs and duty. The people who have done that should be already taken into account, and they should be, you know, they should be viewed and reviewed, and maybe their performance reviewed separately. Yeah, and maybe from a government perspective, he should take his stand in terms of how such people should be treated, because the legacy of any leader is his people. The legacy of Kirinyaga, the legacy of the Kirinyaga people, of leaders, is with the Kirinyaga people, is with the leaders.
Yes.
If I can't go to hospital in Kirinyaga, I have to go to another county, then what are you representing me as a leader?
Surely.
Should the president also be blamed for such things?
No, I think the money, surely. When I saw Governor Waiguru yesterday in the Senate, or the other day, she started the same game. She was in that ministry, and that ministry had IFMIS. She's the one who created IFMIS. For her to come to the Senate to tell us that there's something wrong in IFMIS, then she knows.
Yes.
And she did not give solutions. She only lumped the entire thing that the ministry explained. And you remember the situation of NYS 1, where Madame Kabura had 62 million going away with it. People were complaining about IFMIS. And Madame Waiguru came back and said she has stepped aside. Can the president take it from there again? We go back.
You know what happens?
And take on some people.
Yes. Actually, any system is as good as its people. And that is when they normally say garbage in, garbage out. Because if maize is being fed with garbage, then the output will only be garbage. So as systems work, we know systems work, they have worked everywhere in the world. But if systems are manipulated and they are not fed with the right information, then, or their weaknesses are being exploited, then you can expect anything that we see. It's not the problem of the government. The system was if it was properly tested by the time it came on board, and it has the capability to produce everything and every information for this nation. But people don't want it.
Yes.
And that's the problem. Systems work.
I think someone doesn't want this infamous.
Yeah.
He wants to make it mess. Yeah. Then they go back to the traditional theft.
Exactly.
The traditional line of theft.
Yeah.
Where the chief accountant will say, yangu itakuwa ngapi? I think you've made the cardinal points this morning. Now let's narrow down to your smaller traders.
Yes.
The Nyamakima, is it?
The Nyamakima people, yes.
People.
Yeah.
The River Road.
Yes.
The things that are coming, that the president is saying things will work out.
Yeah.
Will they work out?
I think if he's given that hope, I have all the belief that things will work out. But let me tell you, Daktari, the things in Nyamakima and the small traders is that the government cannot continue pressing them as hard as they already are. They are already down fast. In terms of capital, you already know that right now most banks will not lend to individuals, especially after the interest rate capping and all the regulations that have come through the Central Bank of Kenya. So most of the banks are not lending to individual traders and small scale traders. They look at that as high risk work. So most of the institutions are lending to the government because that's where they think that the return. That's where actually not they think that's where the returns are. So you can imagine the small traders are already constrained in the small capital that they have, and even with the loans that they already have been given by the banks are very harsh to the small traders. So if, for example, in a case that we are discussing of internal container depot, for example, our traders' goods are held there for 3 or 4 months, you can imagine in terms of damages, there's a lot of cost, and also in terms of taxes. There should be a process in terms of the way that even the KRA should be able to understand. You shouldn't, I don't know if you've ever been there, but once you're there, sometimes you can tell there's no business sense. There's no one who understands the small trader.
The taxation is 25%.
Yeah.
And what they do is they give, instead of 25%, by the time you wake up, it is 35%.
Actually, what happened is classifications. What happens, tariffs are all charged as per classifications. And today, even if you're bringing something very, very different, but they think that they need to classify your goods as, for example, if you're bringing in metal sheets or say steel, why should you, what about those people who are bringing furniture that have a bit of steel? Should they be charged the same tariffs with the people who are bringing, even if there are those dynamics or in terms of classification? I think they should be able to learn, to be able to understand, to learn the businesses of these small traders and be able to give proper solutions, because, and understand where they are coming from. But you shouldn't just decide that, I've decided today that your classifications of good is this one, and without having an understanding and without wanting to be challenged. That becomes difficult because, Daktari, even selling those goods become very, very difficult. Who are you going to sell to? Because you're going to sell at losses, then you cannot even be able to bring another consignment. You go home.
Okay.
Once you go home,
that's it.
That's it. I think
Sherlock will be on your door.
Will be on your door. Then they sell the little that you have.
Yes.
And what happens is, I think the government should give hope to the small trade, and especially Kenyans. If they have brought good, they should have that duty, even the duty of care in terms of traders. They shouldn't be so harsh, and they shouldn't, like, the government shouldn't be suspecting small traders. Why should you suspect me as, for example, as a government, as your child? If I'm a small trader, I'm your child. Why should you be working as if you're suspecting that I've brought counterfeit good or bad goods? Those who bring counterfeit, they be dealt as such. Those who bring good goods, then they be taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah.
They touch one small area again.
Yeah.
Counterfeit.
Yeah.
you deal with most, advise a lot of businessmen, businesswomen. This issue of counterfeit goods. Kenya has got what we call SGS.
Yeah.
That inspects goods before a pre-shipment inspection. You want to bring a car into Kenya, you have to do a pre-shipment, analyze the car, the age, and so on. Where do these counterfeit goods emerge from? And if so, why is the government paying for this SGS? Those guys who come to your door in London and see your car going to Nairobi, or those guys who go to the clearing agent in London and inspect your goods, why don't they cut off the goods while they are there, and then the goods arrive here only to find that the goods are counterfeit? Why? How can the government work on that?
Thank you very much. I think for any government, quality control is something that the government should deal with. Actually, it shouldn't be the work of a trader. For example, if you look close or keenly, most of the Nyamakima traders or those people in downtown, they are not so educated people. So whenever they bring in goods, they expect a level of support even from the other side. So it shouldn't be the work of that trader to do the work of SGS or quality control. The government itself should do the quality control work, and by the time goods are coming, then the trader is already secure. Because, for example, most traders go to, maybe, for example, if it's China, and they sample good of whatever they think there is a market in Kenya. For them, maybe depending on the specification and the specs of the goods that they are bringing, they might not be able to have all the knowledge, all-rounded knowledge. And businessmen actually they're not the most educated people. Yeah, but they need support. The government needs to support us. But now, the level of support, that is where the problem is, because the level of support, if the government has instituted an organization to be doing this, me as a trader, if I brought good and they have come to they have landed here and I'm being told they are fake, then where do I take solace, or where do I fall to?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Where does a trader who has already paid through his tax or her tax to SGS,
exactly,
where does he get or she get, where does she get solace?
Yes.
When the goods are here, then you say they are fake, while the man there SGS had to do a pre-shipment.
Exactly.
I think we have it very well on record.
Yes.
Any last word?
I think any last word for me.
And what message on the legacy? One, an encouragement to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Two, what can he do now to improve? Because we had debates all over yesterday. People are saying he should sack the judges. Are they the problem? Sack the ministers. Are they the problem? You know? Sack the entire, there's another word, declare corruption a national disaster. Then another one, make it criminalize ethnicity. Because when there is ethnicity, wherever there is corruption, ethnicity emerges. My man, our fifth, Awala Kunule, you must have read The Lion and the Jewel.
Yes.
Awala Kunule. In Africa, Awala Kunule is, whether he's a wizard, is Awala Kunule.
Yeah.
Whether he's a witch making people have unnecessary diseases in the village, is our witch. So where do we draw the line among all these? With a legacy at almost 39 months to end. Yeah. Where do we draw the line?
Thank you very much. And as you're saying that, I just remembered a story that was just in the news recently about China. China was shooting down its leaders that were corrupt. I'm not saying that the president or any of us should go that route, but what I'm trying to say is that there can be a step taken if somebody is found to be corrupt or if any system is found to be flawed even in the government institution, that at least investigation is done and action is taken. It doesn't have, even a small action is still action. At least action should be taken, especially from a corrupt perspective, because corruption seems to have cascaded down to us as a people, and we look at corruption as the next big game. If you don't win through corruption, then you cannot make it in life. And then also, I think the other thing, corruption also should be even taken a step further to be even a subject in even our education system, because it's one of the biggest monsters that we have. And regardless, it does not matter. We have seen even people that have been trusted and have fallen down to corruption. I don't want even to go to that route, but what I'm saying is that the president is still doing a very good job, and I need to encourage him to continue. And even the action, the action he took last week, that is a big step to tell us as Kenyans that he's still in control. And I think also the other thing, the president shouldn't be intimidated by what people say. People will always say, and whether you are kinsmen or people that are around you, yeah.
He has got the sword.
Yes.
We gave the president the sword.
Yes.
There are not two swords.
He shouldn't shy away or be brought down by what we are trying to say, or the things that are being said on the street. I think he should. It's good as a leader. I know he has the end from the beginning, and he has the capability that to turn this country around. But he has to turn it. We need to see him engaged a step at a time in all the ministry, and also his people, especially the CS, really accountable. As Kenyan, we cannot afford the kind of mediocrity that we see. We need people who are decisive, people who move for the purpose and for the final reason of having the people of this nation at heart. And that is what is the most important thing. The other thing, I think the other thing that I would say in terms from a business perspective and from a SME perspective, this nation has all the potential. I think, Mr. President, this nation has all the potential, and it's up to your support that we depend on, so that we can come up and grow you and support you. The kind of, I know there's a lot of borrowing going on, but if this economy is surfaced enough, it's able to produce and support the budget of this country as much as you can with very minimal borrowing. And Kenyan people are resilient people. They are willing to work hard every day. But I think what I can encourage you today, don't listen to the people on the street and what they say. Forget about them. Go ahead and do what you have purpose to support, and your legacy for this nation will live on.
Exactly. Use the sword.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And so many people agree with you.
Yeah.
Sue Anyoni said the good point there, Madam. The president cannot take the bullet for everyone.
Yeah.
And then Charles Kakuya says good points and very pragmatic. And then we have Ombesha Arthur, even at the point at the airport.
Yeah.
He has raised something very serious at the airport.
Yeah.
We who fly are advised not to carry brand new goods by the customs unless we have chai. Yeah?
Kanima, chai is everywhere.
So this tea is tea everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you.
Thank you.
That is the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. We discuss it every morning, and we want now to switch on to come back to the normal another program, which of course we want to relieve you as you go to your other activities. But you will see her most of the time around on the issue of business, especially on business. If you have a business outside there, if you have anything, any troubles of any advice that you need in terms of business management, business enterprises, entrepreneurship,